Sleeps.com for more details.
Imus in the morning. Hannity in the afternoon. 77 WABC.
From high atop the legendary studios of 77 WABC, you're entering the Saturday Night Cafe. She's smart. She's sassy. She's got her finger on the pulse of all things happening in the city that never sleeps and beyond. Now, here's Laura.
Ah, yes. You've just entered the cafe. Take a listen.
He had his father's smile. He had his sister's heart. He was a family jewel. Now he's a missing part. And though he's disappeared, he's not without a trace. The home where he once lived is now our resting place. No matter how hard we try.
77 WABC. I wanted to kick off the show with that incredible music. Maybe something you haven't heard before, but we're going to hear all about it right now. Comes from a beautiful musical that was off Broadway last year, and it's going to be kind of restarted this coming fall once again. But I thought it was going to be absolutely apropos to our show tonight, the Saturday Cafe, which is a variety show. And once in a while, I have on my dear friend who is truly one of the world's, if not the world's, greatest psychic medium. And he gives readings. And he's going to be here at 8 o'clock, doing it. And so I thought, how appropriate if we invite a friend to the show who has actually written a Broadway musical or off-Broadway musical about the subject matter of the afterlife and going to a psychic medium. Without further ado, I want to welcome this wonderful guy. He's a funny one, and you've probably heard him many times before because he happens to be a favorite of Howard Stern. He is also the executive vice president of The Late Show with David Letterman for the past 16 years, and on the side decided to write a musical. How about that? Vinnie Favale, great to have you on the Saturday Cafe.
I can't possibly live up to that introduction. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for having us.
Oh my! Well, and we're going to have your co-writer and one of the stars of Hereafter. She's going to be joining us after the first break. So I'll be looking.
She was the voice we heard on that song you just played.
That voice. I mean, I get goosebumps when I hear her voice. It is the most soulful. She's this like beautiful, blonde, tall, skinny woman, and this voice of an angel.
It's incredible, and it's incredible the way we hooked up. I started this journey 10 years ago, actually, this year, and when Frankie, Keane, that's who we're talking about, came on board in 2008, that's when it became a reality, and we haven't looked back. You haven't looked back.
So what is, I mean, seriously, like you've got this incredibly interesting job, with David Letterman, and then you've got this relationship with Howard Stern because you worked with him for years. I mean,
right.
what an unbelievable resume, by the way, you have in the world of television and such. I mean, truly remarkable, and you're like all of 40 years old. I don't know how you did it.
Well, I'm 50, but thank you. 52.
Even so, unbelievable, vast career. But then all of a sudden you get an idea for a musical about the afterlife. How did this happen, and what is it all about?
Honestly, it was nothing I ever set out to do. I think it's the hardest art form, theater, especially musical theater. I've worked in television my entire life since. In fact, I started in radio on WNBC back in the day. And what happened was a neighbor, someone I didn't know, died tragically. A young boy, DJ Wheeler, in a car accident. And that sight that you see, sadly, the wreath on the side of the road with the flowers, the memorial that seems to be there forever.
Yes.
And I noticed that one day shortly after the accident, and it stayed with me. It was haunting as life was going on for everyone. Cars whizzing by, my mind would just capture that sight. And his picture was on the tree. It's still there. It's in Lincroft, New Jersey. And it led to a song called 19, and I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake the feeling. And it kind of opened up these feelings and memories that I had of of my own losses in my life. You know, when someone dies, you of course feel sad for that person if you know them, but then you think of your own mortality, and then it just kind of reminds you of the people you've lost, that it becomes this whole thing. And it really took over my life. I had very little control over it, and I started writing the music, and then when Frankie came on board, we wrote some more songs, and we wrote the story, and it's been an incredible journey, one I would not recommend. I think it chose me. I didn't choose it.
Well, isn't that interesting? I mean, you know, if you really want to go, you know, as far as you can with this, do you feel like maybe you were guided from above to
Honestly,
write this thing?
I do. I hope from above. I feel that way. I feel a little like the psychics in the show, and quite ironically, and I said this in the email to you, I have yet to have a meaningful psychic experience with a medium, and I've gone to many. Frankie, who she'll share with us in a little while, has had some successes, but I do believe that especially when it comes to music, that there's some sort of guiding force that whispers in our ear or somehow touches our subconscious and allows us to pick up these things that are already out there. Because I'm not that talented. I don't know where this stuff came from. Because saying that, I think the music is beautiful.
The music is beautiful, and the you know, the lyrics, everything poignant. So that I can see that it's a, you know, part tearjerker but also feel good at the same time. You sort of married the two emotions.
Definitely. You know, when you hear the subject matter, it's like, okay, who wants to see a show, a musical no less, about, you know, 3 women struggling with the losses in their life? You know, on paper, it does sound like, okay, wow. But I can tell you, every single person that has seen the show, and we played to about 2,500 people during the last run. Everyone after the show was like, wow, I need to come back and bring someone who needs to see this. It became very therapeutical because it gives you permission to cry in public, which I do sometimes when no one wants to see me cry. But it's the kind of show where you could let your emotions down because everyone else is doing it as well.
Well, it's a poignant subject matter, but I love that you framed it within, you know, these women who go to one of those group readings in a house, which I've been to.
Right.
My friend Thomas, actually, you said you've never had a real meaningful or accurate or a reading.
Right, true. I need something real. I can't settle for, a feather is floating. My uncle once loved feathers. You know, people seem to grasp onto the simplest things, and I need something real. And this is why in the show it was very important to us that when that moment happens, it really is based on something so real that you can't doubt it for a second. You know, I don't want my heart to confirm it. I want my brain.
You want your brain. Well, let me tell you something. I will tell you this, and you have my word. If I will get you a reading with Thomas John, who's coming on the show at 8:00, I will get you a reading with him, and I promise you that whole thing will change for you.
It would be amazing because I want to believe, and the show wants to believe as well. And you know, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to know? But yet there are people that go through life without any need to know because, God bless them, they have religion in their lives, you know, and I envy that. I envy that faith. I wish I had that blind faith.
Well, and then, but you've also taken a little bit of creative license with the plot line in that the characters who are actually the spirits from the other side, we get to see what they're going through. And, you know, I don't know if it's based on religion or anything like that. It's just sort of a twist that you had this go. Do you find it to be therapeutic for people in terms of how you answered questions for them?
You know, what we did was we tried to just stimulate the conversation. When people, you know, there was one version of the show that I think actually you would have loved, but everyone else would have hated. There was a version that Frankie and I did, which was very New Age, where the spirits came from the other side, from a place that we knew what it was like. You know, the afterlife, the beautiful hereafter that you see when you know, in between lifetimes before you reincarnate, and all that kind of mumbo jumbo. We had written a show about that, and it was horrible. You know, it's like if you didn't really believe in that kind of New Age stuff, you were kind of lost. So to answer your question, you know, I don't know. Like, I would imagine if we're struggling, you know, it's this catch-22. If someone dies and you haven't let go for various reasons, because you have some unresolved issues, because you miss them, because you don't have an absolute faith in God that you know that they're going to go somewhere. When that happens, are you possibly holding them back? And so that's kind of like in the show. Maybe each side is holding the other one back. It doesn't happen maybe every time someone dies, but for these three people in the show, everybody's stuck.
Wow. Fascinating. So you originally did this, you said, off-Broadway in St. Mark's Place here in the city.
Yeah, we did it at Theater 80. Well, we had the evolutionary process of all theater. Actually, we did it a little differently. Frankie and I actually she came on board in 2008. Prior to that, I had written a bunch of songs and demoed them. When Frankie came on board, and our music director, Bill Hinden, it just really took off musically. So what we decided to do was focus on the album. We always had an idea that the story involved three women spending an afternoon at a psychic, okay? And we always knew that was there. So we produced this whole CD before we even wrote the script, okay? Mm-hmm. And so it kind of was born as a concept album, much like Tommy or any kind of rock and roll album. But in this case, we always knew it was going to be the soundtrack. So what we did was we did the CD, we did a bunch of concerts of just the music, and Christine Johnson from WCBS, she's a good friend of mine. She hosted some of them where she would take the audience through what was going on, just kind of like painting the picture. And then we did some readings, and then we did like a couple of workshops, and then we went on Kickstarter too, because we had this dream of doing the show on a stage in costume, just the real deal, and we were very successful. We sold a lot of tickets on Kickstarter.
That's exciting. I love that website is amazing for helping jumpstart people's dreams and goals a reality, but you're doing it a little differently this time. You're really trying to get true backing, and so this.
I can't afford it anymore. It's like Kickstarter was great. We raised $70,000 on Kickstarter, but I had to put in like another $150,000, which, by the way, I did not have. It was literally, God bless my wife Debbie, who looked the other way as I ran up credit cards and took up mortgages and second mortgages. But it was great because we needed to prove to ourselves. Frankie and I needed to see it on its feet to see, did we really have something, or were we kidding ourselves? And the good news is we really did have something. So it was a limited run for 2 weeks. We could have kept on going, but you need money to keep these shows going, even though you're selling out tickets, because the money doesn't come in right away. So we said, let's close it down, and then let's come back like adults, like they really do. So on March 4th and 5th, we're having backers readings where we get into a room. It's kind of nerve-wracking with industry people, investors, and producers and whatnot, and we do the whole show from start to finish. At music stands, reading off the script, and with piano and drums, and hopefully we'll raise the money that we need. Not hopefully, we will. We'll raise the money we need to come back in September for an open-ended run. Hopefully,
well, you know what? I can tell you just from listening to the music, I can't even see for the life of me how it wouldn't get picked up. So on that note, we're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to come back with your co-writer, Frankie Keane, the beautiful voice that you heard at the top of the hour, who has co-written Hereafter musical, and we'll talk to her as well. She seems like a real hoot, and how we can get involved in maybe finding out when we can see this, and also we're going to tell people how they can find the music online. This is the Saturday Cafe, so happy to be with you. I'm Laura Smith, and by all means, stick around. We've got Deirdre Imus coming up. She's got some healthy Super Bowl foods that I'm sure you've heard about on the Imus in the Morning program. Her husband basically laughing us all out of town. And coming up at 8 o'clock, as I said, the Manhattan medium, Thomas John. He'll be joining us and taking live readings on the air. Don't go away. It's the Saturday Cafe.
Listening to the Saturday Night Cafe on 77 WABC. Now back to Laura.
Thank you so much, Jake Hirsch, the beautiful voice at the top of the show and on the rejoins there. That's what we call him in the business. And he's terrific. You can find him at ProTunes.com, spelled PROTOONS. ProTunes.com, an extraordinary voiceover artist. So I want to thank him so much for gracing my Saturday Cafe, which we thought last week was going to be starting off in the mornings, and apparently now it's next week. So I made this whole big deal about it starting at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays from now on, and lo and behold, we're still here at night. But I will keep you posted somehow, some way, if probably next week, though, 7 a.m. as opposed to 7 p.m. without further ado, though, we want to get back to our gentleman, Vinnie Favale, funny man, who has written this interesting musical that I really gravitated towards because of all the stuff. I'm into the mediums and the psychics and stuff because I know some of the best in the world. And so Hereafter musical was done last year. It's getting ready to be go through and to try to get funding for it to have its own run permanently in New York again. But we're joined now with his co-writer and the star of the show, Frankie Keane. Welcome. I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, you have got the most beautiful voice.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I can't take credit. It's the man upstairs, but he lets me use it. So thank you so much.
I love that. That's great. So you two met and joined on this project, and I would imagine when it comes to, writing a musical, a lot of you're doing all the vocalizing behind it. You've added the instrumentation or the vocalizing and he's written the lyrics. Is that how it went?
He wrote, Vinnie, when I first came on board, Vinnie already had a substantial amount of stuff done already. I mean, it's kind of funny how he works because he just kind of sings something out, and the next thing you know, he knows people that go, oh, I can do that. He's got these orchestrated, beautiful pieces of work. I came in and I heard some stuff, and I'm like, oh, and then I started to hear the 9 million voices in my head. And would just ask him, go, hey, can I try this? Can I try that? He'd go, oh my God, yeah. And then it ended up just, having a lot of fun, redoing some of the backgrounds and then, putting my spin on it. And we work very well together. It's kind of sharing half a brain.
What she did was she did the vocal arrangements for every song on the show, which to me, some of my favorite parts of the music are the things that Frankie did, which were these beautiful, pieces that kind of flowed in and out of the songs. And in addition to all of that, she co-wrote one of the funniest songs in the show, the Toe Tag Tango. We did that together because the show went through many changes. You think you have the story down and the songs down, and then you realize, oh my God, this doesn't work. And thankfully, Frankie was on board at that part to help me fix it and figure it out.
So is there, the music that I've heard from it has sort of this ethereal quality to it. Was it purposeful in terms of just the subject matter and dealing with the afterlife? Did you have to try to weave some of that into it to make it have its own sort of feel or brand?
I think in some cases it was organic. Like there's a song, the last song on the show was called Hereafter, naturally would be that. And that's a very kind of ethereal sound to it, right, Frankie? Like the arrangement on that because of like what is going on in the show at that point. And then there's some stuff that's just kind of just indigenous to the style of music. The Toe Tag Tango, as you would imagine, would be like a tango. So it's really, everything felt natural. I don't think we contrived anything. I'd like to think that it was organic.
Absolutely. So where can we find the music? Because for everybody to know, is it on Amazon and iTunes and all of the typical?
If folks search Hereafter Musical on Amazon or iTunes, the CD will come up. It's available for download. And our website, hereaftermusical.com, has got a lot of great stuff, our blog updates and
the video.
And the video, right? Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah, Vinnie's very visual. He videotapes everything, and what you forget is that
creepy.
It does sound creepy. But there were points in our working environment where we would have a disagreement, and it's funny because when we look at he takes still photos from the video, and when you look at it, I know my face well enough to know what exactly I was thinking. And he knows me well enough to know, too, I think, where I was going. But videotapes everything. So if there's anything going on that's not pleasant, it's all on video.
It's documented, yes.
It's documented. And so on the Toe Tag Tango, we had a huge disagreement as to what we both thought was the same thing turned out to be completely different.
Right.
And that's all on video. And then there's the video of us going, oh, wait a minute. And it's funny. So everything's documented, but Vinnie had the fortitude to actually decide to do a music video to promote the show, and he hired some really great people, and it's a really, really good piece. So that is definitely worth going up to the website just to see the video because it's a music video.
It is.
If you go to, we have our own channel on YouTube, but it's all on hereaftermusical.com. You get links to all that stuff.
Right, and it's beautifully done because you also, part of your background, which I didn't mention, you were at MTV for years and VH1. I mean, really, you have, yeah, and so now you've got a musical under your belt. What's next?
You know what? It never does seem to end. We're still doing this. The hope is that, or the belief is that once we launch the show, our plan is to literally launch a version of the show in every city in the country, as many cities that could stand the two of us.
Every city, every country, every language. Come on, Vinnie.
We're taking over the world. That's it. It's all about Hereafter Musical. There's really nothing next. I think next is now.
Next is now. I like that. But in the meantime, you're still working full time, David Letterman.
Yes, I am not quitting my day job. And by the way, yesterday was the 31st anniversary of David Letterman's debut on television, and he's still going strong. It's an awesome show, and we have a great commercial in the Super Bowl tomorrow with him.
Oh, you do? Oh, yep. But he is absolutely timeless, and he's a favorite of mine. I'm from Indiana also. So.
Oh, perfect.
I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
Yes, Frankie will remind you of that fact every 2 minutes.
Vinnie hates the fact I'm from Chicago, and it does come up several times. But hey, neighbor.
I love Chicago. I'm from 2 hours from Chicago. Great city. But good. So we'll be looking for the Super Bowl ad with David Letterman.
David Letterman. Yeah, it's. I won't tell you what it is, other than it's a great spot that it's during the game.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Well,
You'll
listen.
have to watch the game. You have to suffer through the game to see our beautiful spot, but most people could do that.
Oh, we're all looking forward to it. So wonderful and exciting. Hopefully, one day you'll be doing the musical on TV or whatever. So
that would be great.
That's in another, well, I don't know, on the docket for after you've done it all over the world, you can do it on TV.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Well, Frankie, thank you so much for joining us. But you have the voice of an unbelievable angel with so much soul in it. I cannot wait when this gets relaunched here off Broadway and we get to come all see it and see you in it. I hope you better be there.
Wonderful. I'll be there
along with our beautiful cast. They're awesome.
We've got an
wonderful.
amazing cast.
I just love watching that video on the site and hearing the music. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So thank you both.
Thanks
Vinnie
so much,
Favale, much love to you both, and Frankie Keane, both from co-writers of Hereafter Musical, in the vein of people going to see a psychic medium, but really a transformation that happens within themselves and within the people watching over them that have passed away, but all in music as well. So it sounds really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laura. We love your show.
Well, you'll be back on, trust me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. All the best. So if you want to hear the music for Hereafter Musical, go online to iTunes or Amazon.com. You can buy it there. It's really gorgeous stuff, beautiful stuff. And in the meantime, we're also going to come back and we're going to talk healthy Super Bowl food. Okay, I know it doesn't